Today's podcast is brought to you by Inverted Gear. For all your jiu-jitsu needs, go to invertedgear.com. Save 15% off if you type in the coupon code ShowTheArt15 with no spaces. Our next sponsor is Chimera Coffee. That's Chimera Coffee with a K. They are a coffee brand that infuse their coffee with nootropics. If you don't know what nootropics are, Google it. They can do a much better job at explaining it than I can. Go to chimeracoffee.com, type in the coupon code ShowTheArt for a nice little discount. Enjoy. Eddie Bravo, welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. Thank you for coming on again.
Are we actually on now?
We can be.
Okay.
We just record and then let me know when you're ready to go.
I am ready now.
Boom.
Bam.
Welcome to the show, Eddie Bravo. Welcome back. Thank you for coming on. We really appreciate this.
What up?
Thank you for having me, man. You're doing a great job. I'm a fan of you guys. You guys put out those show your art videos, right, on Instagram?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we show the art.
Okay, that's you. Okay, cool.
I know you're a busy guy, man.
Instagram was made for jiu-jitsu. I mean, it's the best thing for jiu-jitsu.
I know, right? Because you get just the right amount of video, and then it cuts off.
Yeah.
It's like you don't need to watch
the loop action.
Yes, the loop action.
Sick.
How's everything going?
Everything's great.
Hey,
can't complain.
Thank you for sharing the video we put up the other day.
Which one?
One of the techniques video. Was it the straight ankle lock?
I don't remember.
The Nelson one we put up.
From here on out,
Straight
just
ankle lock?
share all of them. Just continue.
No, but we really appreciate it. You put out a lot of stuff, man. Are you like Instagram heavy, or are you just on social media, any source?
I think everybody is on social media. Like, I think everybody, you walk around anywhere, everyone's on their phones.
You got social media full-timers.
Yeah. I like to turn it off at night, but then sometimes if, I don't know, I get too high, I'll get back on and post, the over 21 stuff.
Yeah, I'm very entertained by your Instagram because you put up a nice array of jiu-jitsu, conspiracy theory, and funny stuff. It's like a good combination.
Well, thank you. It's just whatever pops up in front of me. If I like it, I post it.
And that's the fun part, like, especially like many people are just regular people. They would want to meet like their heroes, Eddie Bravo, Anderson Silva, those type of guys. And Instagram makes it like, it gives you a little bit of their world if they're the actual ones handling it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think everybody is into it. I don't think it just seems like there's no reason to have anybody else handle your social media unless you're LeBron James, maybe. But I think even he is
yeah, he does it.
He does it, right?
Yeah, he does his. Some of these posts, yeah.
Like, who wouldn't? I think, doesn't like Obama, isn't that motherfucker on his phone too?
I think
what I mean?
So. Why wouldn't
you be?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be? It isn't like people are on their phones because it sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People are on their phone because now wherever you go, it doesn't matter if there's a long line. Sometimes the longer the line, the better. Now you go to the airport. The airport used to be such a drag. But as long as you got Wi-Fi at the airport, shit, 3-hour delay, no biggie. I'll just get on fucking Instagram. And, you know what I mean?
No.
And now the planes have Wi-Fi. Oh, forget about it.
Damn.
Who cares that it's an 8-hour flight? So what? As long as they have Wi-Fi and an outlet to charge your phone.
I never heard anybody argue for internet access on your phone like that. Like, it's good for lines and it's good for airports.
You know what I hate?
What's
you know
that?
when you go out, you meet your friend for lunch, you haven't seen him in a while, and if you guys are sitting there at lunch and if you're on your goddamn phone, that's kind of rude, right?
Yeah,
It's
that's
rude.
That's rude.
It's rude. Like if can you imagine you visit your mom, you haven't seen her all year, and the whole time you're at the table, you're not talking, you're just on the phone, right? Isn't that rude?
And you're like
right?
nodding, like you're part of the conversation. You're not.
Yeah.
But you're not.
Yeah. But wouldn't it be cool if there was someone that you could hang out with, that you didn't have to fucking talk. You guys both enjoyed being on each other's phones, sending shit to each other.
Without
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why not embrace it? Like, I think it would be cooler to hang out with friends where if you wanted to, you guys could talk. But if you guys want to get on the phone, you guys like say, "Excuse me, I didn't notice you were on the phone," but actually mean it. Like, finish what you're doing on your phone.
Yeah.
But no. Anytime we have to handle business, you gotta tell your mom or your friend, "Hey, listen, I gotta handle this email real quick. It's gonna be really quick. I gotta do this, bro." It's okay, man. It's okay.
Yeah, you always got to set
like
that
permission and shit.
You always got to set that disclaimer.
Yeah. I know me and my girl, we're kind of like that. Like it's understood. When we're both looking down, we're handling business, we're doing stuff. But then like you can't be on it the whole time. If she starts saying something, I got to look up. I can't be rude and keep looking down. I could get better at that, though.
You can't stare at Misha Tate ass pics on Google.
Does she have the best one? Is Misha number one?
You go first, Mark.
Top two, maybe.
Who's up there with her? Who's top three booties? Does Claudia? The Brazilian, what's her last name again?
Gadelia.
I haven't really gotten a good angle, good clear view, but it appears to be very fit.
Yeah, she has a CrossFit body, that's for sure. I don't know, man. Top three is hard to say. It's hard because they don't put it out there like that, you know. Sometimes in embedded they catch it, but I don't know.
Exactly, they catch the angle. The angle. Isn't it funny that like no matter what is going on in our lives, no matter what our conversations are currently about, if like someone would, if a girl passes by, whoever she is, she could be 90, or she could, you're gonna do a quick genetics check, right?
Yeah. You know what's funny? It almost comes like natural. Like you can't not do it anymore. I notice myself just turning for the hell of it. Even if I don't know who's walking past, I just turn around. And it's just like a natural instinct now. It's not good.
Yeah. It's a quick scan.
Yeah, it's a genetic scan. It's no matter what's going on, no matter the conversation, you could have a deep, serious, stressful conversation with someone, and like one of your buddies, and then someone passes by. You keep the conversation going. You don't stop, but you just a quick scan of the genetics, and then boom, right?
Now, when you're scanning the genetics, you do a quick turnaround. Are your as soon as you turn around, are your eyes always in the downward direction or upward direction?
Or in the midline?
I don't know. It's just got to be really quick. You know what I mean?
I think you're a center line type guy.
You got to do it without turning your head. You got to just do it with the eye movement.
You have to turn your body. It's core rotation. You don't turn the head. Keep the spine.
It's so important. It's so weird. We have no control over it. It's so important that we're constantly making sure that
the things are right.
Yeah, there was a documentary years ago that I had. I had it on VHS. This documentary was a 5 VHS set. It's called The History of Sex, and it gets into the science of like why we do things and why we like this and what it is according to them. The reason we like when we see a girl with it's proportioned right with small waist but then bigger hips and then the butt's kind of rounded. It means that she distributes fat properly, and that's important for brain development while the baby's in utero.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So we're looking for, that girl. When we see like a chick with a CrossFit body that's perfect, small waist, and then the hips come out and it's got a nice round ass. We're looking at that as like, her body is working properly.
Yes.
It's distributing fat properly. But when we see a girl with a sausage body and she's out of shape, it's all doughy, and it looks just doesn't look. But then there's some girls that are overweight, but then you can tell that if they lost weight, they'd have a good body.
Yeah.
Even overweight, you can tell that, man, there's a good body in there.
Yeah, there's a shape there.
Yeah, but then there's girls that they're just like their waists are fat, and then they're like a sausage, and you just know, and they're not even that fat. They're just, they could even be normal weight, but you could just tell, their body's having trouble distributing fat. That's gonna fuck up our little baby's brain, and so we don't want to hit that.
Yeah, like she's good at. I also read a while ago that like one of the reasons why women wear makeup a certain way, red lips, red blush, is because it shows that that's the look women have when they're,
in heat.
Yeah,
like in the jungle, their lips would actually turn red if they had to.
Exactly.
they probably used to turn really red back in caveman days, but once they invented lipstick, we
There's no need.
that part.
Yeah. So true, man. So you got EBI 7 coming up.
It's super exciting.
Cool, man.
Dude,
Thank you.
What
do you guys think?
We have a really good feeling about this one.
Oh man, yeah.
Super.
I think it's I think it is the most stacked division you've put together so far.
You think so?
I think so, man.
What about that absolute though? Because really, you know what happened in that absolute, man?
People fell out.
A lot of people fell out, but the people that remained were still higher IBJJF status than anything we've had before. So like that last show, although we had so many guys drop out, like Andrew Galval, Cyborg, it was like it went on and on. Vinny, Dean Lister, it just went on and on. But the guys that stayed were still way better in IBJJF status.
Right.
And we had multiple ones. We had a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Man, we had Matthias Denise. That's world's level right there.
Yeah, he's awesome.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we had a lot of guys, man. And that were still badass.
I'll tell you why I think this is the most stacked division. Maybe that's the wrong way to phrase it, but I feel like most of the guys you got on this card, I could look at them and say they're going to push the action. Whereas in the last card, the absolute division, some of the guys I looked at, I'm like, some of you guys, they just don't play that game where they're going to really push the action.
Yeah, and I'm sensing wily technique. I'm sensing some freaky shit that's going to happen with these guys.
Yeah, definitely compared to EBI 6, EBI 7 doesn't have the IBJJF stars, that we had in EBI 6. But that's not because I didn't invite them all. No. I invited any 145 high level, the highest guys, all of them. All of them were asked. All of them denied. They were all asked. I'm serious. I wanted to, see if we can get the best.
Yeah.
There was a few of the absolute best on the fence for a while. But you know what it is, man? I don't blame them. After watching EBI 6, they probably thought, damn, look who ended up in the finals. A Russian versus a kid who hasn't done anything in the Mundials.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything, but yet he fucking won, and he's an instant star already.
Oh yeah.
You know what it is? How is it possible that Gary Tonin, Eddie Cummings, and Gordon Ryan are the stars in a certain style of grappling, submission only? They're the elite in submission only, right? But in the gi, in the Mundials, in IBJJF, they haven't done anything.
Yeah, it's two different worlds.
It's two different goddamn sports, and that's what it is. And I ain't mad at those guys who declined. I am not mad at them at all, man. They're smart because it's two totally different sports with two different objectives, and you got to have two different ways of training. I mean, there's two different. They're like opposite training camps, because in the points world, if you want to, and in the points world, man, it's very, very important to get that IBJJF Worlds Golds, that Nogi Worlds, and that IBJJF Mundial. That is the pinnacle.
Yeah.
Of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu
that
in
one
the world.
That one will get you all the magazine covers and all the seminars.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's very important for these traditional schools to win that So it's so important that why not do everything you can to win those things? And what you do is you got to train specifically for those tournaments. For points tournaments, most of your time should be sweeping, passing, and wrestling. That's it, or judo if it's gi. That's it. The takedown, you want that incredible base. You want it sick, nasty Cobrina base. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want and it's just sweeping and passing. You shouldn't spend any time doing leg locks or like doing like 411 and reaping and heel hooks.
Yeah.
That would be a waste of fucking time to do that shit. And what about like specific back attacks, the strategies, and really breaking down, we're going to get the back and how the hell are we going to tap it, and really start training those strategies, spending a lot of time doing live back drills. That would be a waste of time doing IBJJF. You may never even get to the back in your matches. The one thing that you know in points tournaments, the one thing you know where you're going to get, there's going to be a sweep pass battle. There's going to be a sweep pass battle. That's where you should spend most of your time. And that's what happens. And that's why all the top IBJJF stars, they're incredible passers. They're like spectacularly beautiful. Their passing is just unfucking believable. And the balance and base, because the top guys are smart. They spend time training specifically to win these tournaments, and the sweeping and the passing is the most important thing. That's where you got to spend all your time. That's why they're so amazing at it, because everyone's got the same amount of time. All the champions, they got the same amount of time that they're going to train. So now in the submission only game, passing and sweeping is important too, but not nearly as important. You know what's more important is your goddamn leg lock game.
Oh yeah,
that leg lock game better be on fucking point. That's what we learned.
At the very least, the defense and the active defense. It's so important.
Yes, it changes everything. It changes fucking everything, and that's a submission only game, and especially for EBI as well. You got to every day. You got to spend time on strategies on those overtime rounds. Like you got to get really good, not just on riding backs. You got to have some attacks. You got to have your paths down from the back to spiderweb, back to the back to the truck, back to the back to the truck. You know how sophisticated that's going to be in 10 years. The overtime rounds. You're going to have to spend it's going to be championships will be won and lost in EBI overtime. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So the people that are going to thrive in that format or with those overtime rounds, you're going to have to spend a lot of time attacking the back. Your rear naked choke game has got to be fucking Marcelo Garcia. You know what I'm saying? Your arm, the people that are going to win, they're going to be the ones that are going to be like undefeated in overtime. And I designed those overtime rounds specifically for Marcelo Garcia, because Marcelo Garcia, arguably, I mean, he's got 25 submissions in Abu Dhabi. No one's even fucking close. Based on that, 25 submissions in Abu Dhabi, he is the best no-gi guy ever, right?
Wow.
So how do you beat him? You can beat him in the right format. You take a dude who's been wrestling 15 years and now he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. You know how you beat Marcelo Garcia? If you're in a format where if you stall him out and just use your wrestling to stay up, stall out the match, sacrifice the match, get Marcelo in overtime where like it's a sudden death format, like whoever gets the points first, or it's like 3 minutes and you score as much as you can. Overall, the guy with the best wrestling is going to win those overtimes. And the format even add that guard pulling is a negative point or something. Man, those overtime rounds, you can beat you could be half the jiu-jitsu player Marcelo Garcia is and still beat him in that format. So I wanted to design a format where Marcelo Garcia would thrive because he is the best. And in overtime, you want to see who the best is. That's how they were designed. Because if Marcelo Garcia did EBI, nobody would want to go to overtime with that much.
Now, let me ask you a question about that. Like you said, it's going to evolve to where championships are won via overtime, and you're going to start getting people inevitably who have already done at your tournaments that'll intentionally try to stall out the match because they know they can't beat the guy in regulation. Doesn't that kind of take away from the excitement of submission only and the whole idea of setting up the rules so that guys go head to head and go for submission after submission, attack the back, attack everything, so that it doesn't even have to go to overtime? You know what I'm saying? Don't you think that might eventually make the matches more boring because they're forcing the overtime?
Hell no. The overtimes are most of the time more exciting than the regulation.
Yeah, but you'll have 10 minutes of
Hey, you know what? If you don't want to get paid, hey, that's more money in my pocket.
That's a good point.
You don't want to get paid? I already thought about that.
Yeah.
I go, if you want to do that, because not for 1 second think that I haven't thought of that theory.
No, of course, yeah. That's why you're paying guys big money.
As the show as the show gets bigger and bigger, and we're able to make each of those rounds worth more financially, you want to do that? Go for it. Do it. We don't mind a shootout in overtime. People do not mind that at all. We had a lot of overtime matches. I'm even thinking one day you could even have like a special, just a spin-off.
Just overtime.
Just overtime. It's like baseball. You do 9 rounds of overtime.
It's like home run derby.
Yes, exactly. Gotcha. And you just go and you see who's the best at overtime. Because really, what is EBI overtime? It's not some crazy thing that you got to learn. You know who's going to thrive in overtime? The dudes who know how to finish the best, and the dudes who know how to escape the best. Combined, those guys are going to be the best. So look, that's the essence of jiu-jitsu. The rear naked choke and the arm bar. What's more jiu-jitsu than that? That's not judo. That's not judo. Judo, there are rear naked chokes and there are arm bars, but that's like gravy. You don't have to ever do an arm bar in judo and be an Olympic champion. And the arm bars are extra. That's just like point jiu-jitsu. The finishes, that's like in judo. They're there if you want to. If you can get a submission, but if you just got an advantage and there's so much on the line, don't take no goddamn chances. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
It's just two different sports, and the EBI overtime is all about the rear naked choke and the arm bar, offensively and defensively. That is jiu-jitsu right there.
For sure. So, I'm saying it's exciting. I'm not saying it's not exciting. I was just wondering, I mean, you answered my question by saying what will make them want to finish in regulation? It's the big money. The big money at the end of the day.
The money.
Yeah.
But no matter what, no matter how much money's involved, there's going to be matches where it's probably a good idea for this guy to stall this dude out and take him into overtime. But you got to remember, you're taking him into overtime. He's going to be on your back too, dude. You know what I mean? So it's like he gets a shot. So going into overtime, that's not like, I went the safe route. I went into overtime. This dude's going to be on your back too. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's going to put you in spiderweb. He's going to get a shot too.
Who do you think is the best in the world right now competing, that whether they compete in your tournament or not, would be the best in overtime rules, escaping and then attacking?
Besides Marcelo.
Rafa Mendes.
Okay. Yeah, his back takes and finishes are probably the best in the world right now.
Yeah, I would say Rafa Mendes is now that Marcelo's like not competing, I would say Rafa Mendes is the best.
Yeah.
He was on the fence. He was one of the guys who was on the fence, but he trains. It's very, very important for him to win those world championships. And he like I said before, you got to train specifically for that if you want to be a champion. And that's what he's doing, but I think Rafa, wouldn't even matter if he trained specifically for a sub only. He'd come in and do great.
Yeah. His game is already acclimated to going for submissions, getting to backs, and like his game is, he's big on like creating a scramble and then just kind of defeating you in the scramble. So I feel like that's very good for Nogi.
But
Uh-oh.
we haven't seen any Rafa Mendes against the leg lock style of Eddie Cummings. We haven't seen any of that.
Very true.
Very true.
So, like, what's going to happen there? The crazy thing about leg locks is it used to be, back when
forbidden
leg locks were completely shut down by the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community,
which was whack.
It used to be that if you're going to get a submission, you got to pass the guard first. You got to sweep or pass the guard first. Yeah, but with leg locks, you don't ever have to sweep or ever pass the guard to put dudes in some serious heat. So that changes everything. True. Like Eddie Cummings, I've never seen him pass a goddamn guard. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you don't need to. Sure. So it changes everything. And that leg lock level, before EBI, before Gary Tonin and Eddie Cummings, nobody knew the top level or how high the leg lock levels went.
Sure.
I thought I did, but obviously we didn't. What they've been doing over there at Henzo's with John Danaher, man, for the last 10 years. Whoa, I was listening to a interview that John Danaher said, and it was some very cool shit. He said that when he's teaching his MMA students, he's not teaching them leg locks. And that's exactly what I've been doing. Like with my teaching style, I never really got heavy with leg locks because, you know, when 10th Planet was born, I was just trying to make a difference on the MMA side of jiu-jitsu. You know, I wasn't trying to win championships or anything like that. I used all my time and I focused on how could we fix the bottom game, no gi with punches.
That's where the rubber guard came in, right?
Exactly. That's where I spent most of my time trying to fix that part of jiu-jitsu. I wasn't trying to raise students to win IBJJF championships. I mean, we had guys enter, but that's not where we were spending our time. We were spending our time trying to fix the bottom game in MMA. So I wasn't spending a lot of time with leg locks, but 10th Planet has always been leg lock from day one, leg lock friendly. You could go for heel hooks all you want. You could reap all that. But I personally wasn't doing it because I'm trying to teach an MMA style, and I'm not doing MMA. I'm not the one in the cage. So at the very least, when these MMA fighters come to me to learn stuff, when I roll, I better be doing that MMA style that I'm trying to teach them. So if you know, I'm not fighting MMA, I'm teaching an MMA style, and when I roll, I'm going for heel hooks.
What was Danaher saying about training his MMA fighters? He doesn't teach them heel hooks, or he does?
No, he doesn't. He said he didn't say that word for word, but he says when I teach MMA jiu-jitsu, it's totally different than when I teach pure grappling.
Sure.
And so to me, that means that in pure grappling, since there's no punches, hell yeah, go for leg locks all you want. And which makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And but in MMA, you know, you want to be, you know, if you're creating the perfect MMA fighter, you want, you know, if you could give them any kind of secret weapons, I would definitely give them some serious high level Eddie Cummings leg lock style. I would give them that. But in the fight, as a coach, I would say don't go to that right away. Let's try to take him down first and pass his guard. If we could take him down and pass his guard and mount him and take his back or take him to spider web, then that's safer than going right out there and going for leg locks.
Make your leg lock game a defensive leg lock game, but heavy into like you said, the heel hooks and the Danaher.
Because if you sit back for heel hooks, there's a chance that you're going to get fucking smashed.
Yeah, you're going to get plowed.
It's very dangerous. It's always been very dangerous. That's why personally, for me, I never got into him heavily because in MMA, that's some dangerous shit. But you do want to be good at leg locks.
Sure.
And for me, like if you try to take the guy, if my fighter tried to take the guy down in the first round, he couldn't take him down. He was getting beat up. Second round, he takes him down by the skin of his teeth, but he can't pass his guard. They stand back up. Boom. He cannot pass this guy's guard. He can barely take him down. In that third round, I'm going to say, dude, right now, you got to go for your leg locks. You got to go Ryan Hall style on this motherfucker. You know what I mean? In the third round, if this is the last resort, you're going to lose the fight anyways. That's where the leg lock should come full force. Not in the beginning.
Did you see Rory McDonald against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson? How he went for a couple of Imanari rolls?
Yes. That's, dude, you're going to see more and more of that.
What did you think of that strategy against Wonderboy?
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
That was very surprising.
You know? Yeah, that, you know, I always, if you could take the guy down straight up, that's always the best bet. Pure wrestling / judo, take him down straight up. Don't pull guard. But if you're in the third round and it's clear you cannot take this guy down, or maybe you knew your fighter couldn't take this guy down when the fight was announced because the guy has 20 years of wrestling and your guy doesn't. Like, you know, you're not going to take that guy down. You still try anyways. In third round, you're losing the fight. You might as well pull guard and go Imanari rolls. You know what I mean? You can't take this guy down. You're going to lose.
Definitely,
you know what I mean?
Definitely.
I think, you know, now I see where the leg lock level really is, that high level, that top level. Like, oh shit. So for me, I learned through EBI watching Gary Tonin and Eddie Cummings and what Danaher's doing. For me, I'm like, oh shit. It totally took the 10th Planet Association, watching those guys to the next level, because for the last 2 years, I've been super heavy on leg locks. We work on leg locks almost every day for the last 2 years. We are, when you're going against a 10th Planet guy these days, it used to be watch out for his crazy rubber guard, or watch out for this guy's twister or lockdown or something. Now you got to watch all that stuff too. But now 100%, you got to watch out for our heel hooks, because all our white belt, from day one, heel hooks from day one. We do heel hook drills every day, defensive leg lock drills every day. We got a lot of catching up to do. We've been heavy on it since day one of EBI for 2 years. But the Danaher crew, they've been doing this for like 15 years.
Yeah.
So we got a long way to go, but it's a beautiful thing. I love chasing that level because what it's doing is it's taking all our games to the next level.
Yes.
So even though we're way behind Danaher with the leg locks, they're so advanced with it. They got so many years on us. But what it's doing is it's putting a fire under my ass to do everything I can to get our leg lock level to the highest level. With Danny's flying in, Vlad Korslov, Sambo guys, we got all our guys scouring and working on taking our leg lock game collectively as a 10 Planet Association to the next level. So for that, I thank Danaher, man, because if I wouldn't have seen it, I would have kept on thinking that just being leg lock friendly, heel hook friendly was good enough. Because in every class, I always had 1 or 2 leg lock assassins, you know what I mean? But not the whole class. There's always like 1 or 2, and I would roll with them and work on my leg lock defense and all that stuff. Since day one, we've always had heel hook guys, but it's only been a couple here and there. And the 10th Planet Association has always had leg lock masters. Like at 10th Planet Rochester's been with me for almost 10 years. And the head instructor there is also a Sambo expert. So Chris Herzog has always been the 10th Planet leg lock master. But we've also had other guys like we had like Adleg Cleveland. He's 10th Planet Ann Arbor. He's leg lock heavy too. He comes from CSW. Yeah. We had quite a few CSWs. You guys come into the 10th Planet Association.
And people don't get hurt when you're teaching them from day one. They develop the dexterity from being drilled on. They develop the sensitivity to escape properly. Right?
Yes.
I trained with Riley Bodycomb for a little bit, and he's a leg lock heavy guy. And he was telling me a lot of times people get hurt because they're escaping incorrectly. So they're putting torque on their own leg. But when you start teaching it both ways from an early stage, that's when we see less injuries, right?
Yes, that's totally true, man. Totally true. So the Danaher, what Danaher has done, and that's totally taken 10 Planet to the next level, because now, man, the leg lock level, like my blue belts and purple belts, at that level, they're doing quite well in tournaments. I mean, we've never had so many leg lock victories ever over the last year. And we're just starting. We got a long way to catch up. But what feels good is all those schools that keep banning heel hooks every day that we work on them, and they don't. We're not as good as in leg locks as the Danaher crew. That's for sure.
But you're getting further away from the other guys, for sure.
Yeah, but we're getting way better. So when traditional guys come in now, when traditional guys, even black belts, they come in, my purple belts wreck them with heel hooks. That's totally normal. I see it. Black belts coming in from a traditional jiu-jitsu school, my purple belts will toss them up with heel hooks. They can't handle the heel hooks. What'll happen is they'll get their guard pass. And then they recover. And then they get the guard pass and mount, and then they recover, and then they get heel hooked.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. You know what I mean?
Sure.
They're passing, but they ain't finishing, and then they get caught in heel hooks in that roll. That's what it's looking like, and that's never really happened before. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And leg locks are beautiful when you're escaping positions. You escape them out, boom, right into a leg lock position, right into a reaping position, especially escaping the mount. Like I don't mount people specifically for that reason, because once you get bumped off a little bit, your legs get exposed.
Yep. And then you got to alter your mount. Now I'm playing exclusive what's called butter mount, like you're playing your butterflies and you're in the mount.
I gotcha.
I exclusively play that.
We call that surfing.
That's a cool thing.
Like we call that surfing. We'll do that, and we'll go into like we'll windshield wipe from there and go right into neon belly, and then keep switching sides, go to mount. But I like that, those sticky hooks, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It stops guys. I had a guy like from Henzo's, a leg lock guy, purple belt. Maybe this was 4 years ago. I walk onto the mats. I'm about to teach class, and I look at this guy that I've never seen before, sitting on his butt on the mat. And as soon as We make eye contact. He flips both his legs behind his head without his hands. And he's showing me how flexible he is. And he's like ridiculously flexible. Like one of those guys who are like, oh shit. So I'm like, dude, and I introduced myself and he told me who he was. He's a purple belt from Henzo's. And he's been training 11 years. But he's giving the whole rundown. I'm like, okay, so we rolled. I passed his guard and I mounted him. It was pretty easy. I'm like, but it was a trick. He wanted me to mount him.
Yeah.
He's so flexible. He's so flexible that even if I was complete smash on him with my ankles crossed in skydive, he was so flexible that he could still get his feet in front of me.
Oh my God.
And he did it, and he crossed his feet, and he went right into a leg lock and tapped me out right there. Nice. And I said, okay. And I did it again. Like, okay, cool. So I passed the guard. So now I thought I'm going to mount him, and I'm going to stay so tight and so flat. And all he did is he grabbed his foot and stuck it in between, just like inch by inch. He just stuck it in between our chests, and it took like a minute. But he eventually got the feet through, and then he leg locked me again. And that right there, I thought, I'm never going to play. I'm always going to respect someone's flexibility and leg locks in the mount. You know what I mean? So from that point on, that altered my mount. I'm super sensitive to people going for leg locks off the mount. Sure. And if they're really, really, really good, I won't even mount. I just focus on getting to the truck. Okay. I just put them right to the truck because you can't get heel hooked when you're in the truck. You know what I mean?
Sure. The samurai, right? That's what you call it, rolling to the truck from like a quarter mount?
From 3/4 mount, that's a samurai. There's a slow version and a fast version. But from side control, that's called a ninja roll.
Okay. We from you're a mount, they trap the ankle, whatever you call that.
I call that 3/4 mount. Okay. It's basically a mount,
3/4 mount, or quarter guard, right?
Quarter guard would be if your knee was on the other side and you're kind of like knee slicing.
I see.
That's quarter guard.
That's what you call it.
But if you're in the mount, that's 3/4 mount.
Okay, cool.
Two different situations.
So you get the samurai from 3/4 mount.
Yes.
Cross the feet, roll under. I love that move. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
So let's get back to EBI 7 just to kind of run down a little bit before we got to go. Who do you think? What do you think is going to happen? I know a lot of people on the internet were saying.
What do you think? What do you think?
You know what, man? One side is star heavy and one side is not star heavy. But the guys that aren't stars, they're still very dangerous. It's going to be very tough. I'm personally excited to see guys like Bill Cooper come back. Denny Prokopos he's a magician. I want to see him healthy in this tournament. I'm really excited. I feel like there's a lot of really good matches. I want to say Eddie versus Gio in the finals, but it really could be anybody, man. It's tough.
Give me 4 possible scenarios in the finals. What do you think?
I see Eddie versus Bill Cooper. I see Eddie versus Denny. I see Eddie versus Gio. And then also I see, man, I can even see Rafael Domingos versus, I don't know, so one of these other guys that have nothing to lose, like Sergio Hernandez or who's the other guy that's super flexible? He gets the body lock, the triangle body locks.
I think it's Sergio.
That is Sergio Hernandez. Sergio Hernandez is the craziest style I've ever seen.
I could see Sergio, surprising everybody and beating Eddie in the first round because Eddie might not be used to the flexibility game. You never know.
You never know.
I feel like Eddie has a really good chance of making it to the finals, though. It's hard to bet against him. But on the other side, there's so many guys that can easily make it. I know, like I said, any one of those guys can make it. Joe Soto, Bill Cooper, Denny Prokopos, Domingos, Gio. Any one of those guys can make it. It's so tough, man. That's why I feel like it's so stacked because there's so much potential.
What do you guys know about Mike Davila?
Mike Davila, he did our tournament that we held, our first one, the Finisher Show the Art tournament last July. He's the one who won our 155 division.
And he subbed 2 black belts.
Yeah, he subbed Mike Main and who else?
Mike Padilla.
And Mike Padilla. He's sick, man. He's really good. He has a good traditional game and a good, I guess, non-traditional game, if you want to call it. He's a savage.
Yeah, man. I mean, shit. He could take the whole thing.
The only thing about him, though, is he doesn't have the experience like Eddie has against high-level guys. He doesn't have the experience that some of these other guys have against, world-class competition. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Yeah. What's another interesting possible matchup in the second round is Ara Maradian, who's his highest on leg lock guy against Eddie Cummings, assuming it gets by Sergio Hernandez. That's going to be interesting, man, because Ara been doing leg locks his whole life. Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. Sure. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And then you can't ever count out Barrett Yoshida, because Barrett Yoshida, he is so good in certain situations, Nogi, that if he gets you in a crucifix, you're in some deep shit. Because if he gets you in that, Barrett Yoshida is probably the best at the crucifix in the goddamn world. And the way he sets it up.
Aside from Marcelo.
Marcelo's pretty damn good too. But Barrett is, I don't know. Maybe Barrett has better setups. I don't know.
He
Barrett
has a lot more to offer from the crucifix.
Yeah. Barrett is man, a real no-gi submission master. He the way he rolls into and sets that rear crucifix up is insane. And he's got so much other shit. Barrett is legit. Barrett Yoshida beat Rafael Domingos in EBI, I think it was 2. Barrett in overtime, he's got a serious rear naked choke. It could be Barrett and Eddie Cummings in the semifinals.
That would be awesome.
And if Barrett and Eddie Cummings roll and there's a scramble and Barrett's able to put Eddie on his path in the scramble, dude, Barrett won the worlds, the IBJJF No-Gi Worlds once, and he got silver medal a couple times.
He got ADCC medals.
Yeah, he got silver medal. Yeah, silver at AD. You're right, at Abu Dhabi. So, and at 145, I could. Who knows? Barrett might shock people. Barrett might. Go ahead.
I was going to say, because this is a more comfortable weight class for a small guy like him. Who do you see on the other side, like possible semifinal matchups? I know you're looking at your guys, Denny versus Gio semifinals. But, bias aside, they're good biases. They're great competitors. But
yeah, it could be,
maybe a couple of options.
Yeah, there's so many ways it could go. On paper, Gio beats Mikey Main, gets to the second round. That's just, but anything could happen. This is just on paper. True. On paper, Rafael Domingos beats Ashley Williams, but fuck, who knows? Maybe Ashley shocks everyone and ends up in the finals.
Yeah, you never know.
Every EBI, someone unknown, someone shocks you. It could be Ashley Williams. He might be for the fucking one. We don't know. But on paper, Rafael Domingos, too good for him, and crushes them. And maybe we see Gio and Rafael Domingos in the second round. And then that could go either way.
I think that's good for Gio, though, because he's good when guys attack him. And I roll with him a couple times. And when I started moving on him, that's when he was his best. When I wasn't moving too much, it's easy to stall a guy. But when a guy's good like Gio is in the scramble, it's tough to beat. And Domingos is that way. He pushes the action. I think that might favor Gio a little bit.
Yeah. And then, it could be Gio and anyone from Joe Soto, Bill Cooper, or Denny Popos. Denny on paper should beat Jose Gutierrez, but
you never know.
You never know, man. That's a checkmate black belt right there. You know what I mean? So Jose Gutierrez is no joke. And then who knows what's going to happen with Joe Soto and Bill Cooper?
What do you think where do you think Bill Cooper is right now as far as his level? Because he's been out for a while. I know he had some issues he had to clear up, and I know he had injuries. Where do you think he's at? Have you seen him in the gym lately? Have you? I
don't know, man. I don't know. He did EBI 1, but that was at 170.
Yeah.
And he got caught on an arm bar. But shit, I don't know, man. He seems to be in great shape. I did see one Instagram
he was
picture where he's shredded as hell. That's a great sign right there.
We have a cool Bill Cooper story. A couple of years ago, he came down just for a small trip, and he competed at a tournament. And then out of nowhere, he needed a ride, and he's like, "Dude, if you could give me a ride, I'll give you guys a private." And it was like a late Sunday night. And we picked him up, brought him where he needed to be, but we brought him to our gym first. And I'm telling you, it was like 10 p.m., late at night. He looked tired as hell. We trained, it was just me, Marcos, and him. And we just rolled, and he was moving like a magician. Remember, Marcos?
Dude, he's a dolphin.
Oh, my God. And this was when he said he had a knee injury, and, he was moving and doing this and that and not big on the scene. And he was moving like amazingly. I can't imagine where he is now that he's healthy and happy and excited to compete.
My personal pick is Bill Cooper for this tournament.
Damn.
He could take it all. Bill Cooper that match. Are you guys the ones that posted that match of Bill Cooper and Jeff Glover going at it?
Yes, we posted that.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah. Holy shit.
Oh my God. And
both those guys. I mean, I think, Jeff Glover. Holy shit.
Are you ever going to get him back?
Please.
I asked him and he, he's all beat up, man.
Yeah, he's not training.
He's like, once you hit your 30s, it's hard to do a 16-man tournament at that level. You gotta, it's hard. By the time he got to the finals and EBI won, he was fucking toast. He knows how much. But I'm a gigantic fan of his technique and his movement and his counters and his reaction. Man, Jeff Glover is so entertaining to watch, man.
Would you ever do a Masters type of EBI?
Interesting.
I don't know, man. I maybe
like a Franginia and a Hapsamura and those type dudes.
Yo, that would be sick.
You know what? I'm not sure if those guys would be into it.
Okay.
I'm really thinking seriously. I'm thinking that this is where we see the two sports really divide, and you're going to have to choose your side. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to do both at the high level. Sure. Generally, there are guys that can do it, but I think generally, man, I mean, you got to spend so much time with your leg locks. You got to spend so much time with your back strategies and your armbar strategies, and a lot of time with the defense. Those rear naked choke defenses and back defenses and armbar, that's got to be a daily part of your life.
Yeah.
If it in the long run, right? It's just going to be that way.
Yeah.
And that shit is not important for points tournaments. That's like irrelevant shit. Yeah. So you got to choose where you're going to spend your time. Everyone's got the same amount of time. How are you going to do both? You know what I mean? And again, look at Gordon, look at Cummings, look at Gary Tonin. They're not lighting the world on fire in the points world, but in the submission only game, shit, they're getting covers of magazines. Gary Tonin on covers of magazines, you know what I mean?
Sure. Gary Tonin headlighting Men at Morris, stuff like that.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? So what we're seeing is there's two different kind of jiu-jitsu stars.
Yeah.
There's those IBJJF stars, and then there's the Gary Tonin and the Gio Martinez and the Eddie Cummings style. Gary Gordon Ryan, superstar, and hasn't won a medal in IBJJF, worlds ever.
Eddie, I wanted to ask you lastly before we go about the kids divisions. I love what you're doing, having a lot of young girls fight each other, give them a platform because, they go into these tournaments and there's not many girls and they have to fight boys. I love that you're doing that. Would you?
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I you know what, for me, I've been spending close to 15, 16 years, something like that. I think, what is it, 13, something like that? Shit, 13. 13. I was teaching 10th Planet, trying to teach my style of bottom game, and it's tough, man. It's tough for grown-ass adults who have jobs and have stress in their life and got so much going on to really break down the system. It's tough. Out of like a couple thousand 10th Planet soldiers, probably 50 of them can play rubber guard like really good.
Yeah.
Most can't. It's such a long-term project. You got to really want it. But when I started seeing like Grace Gundrum and Cora Sack, I would get these videos because everyone's sending videos, and like Zach and JM are sending me videos of Grace. I'm like, look at these little girls. They were like 10 years old at the time, 10, 11 years old at the time. And they got the rubber guard down so well. And it's like a little 12-year-old violinist who's a virtuoso. They're not, those little girls that are playing violin, they're not good for a 12-year-old. They're good, period.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was so entertaining for me to watch these little girls kill with rubber guard. It was just so entertaining.
Sure.
And then I thought, I wonder if the world would like to see this, because I'm so entertained by it. So that's when I decided to stick it in EBI. I'm like, let's see what people think of these little cute little bunnies, going after each other, trying to kill each other. You know what I mean? Put each other in chokes and break limbs and stuff. And well,
dude, I feel like it's a good look for jiu-jitsu as a martial art, saying, hey, look, put your little daughter in jiu-jitsu. She could be a savage. She can handle her own. And all these girls are proving it, you know?
Yeah, it's what is the best proof for a martial art? To see what's the weakest form of human physically? A small little girl.
Yeah.
Right? That's the weakest form. That's a small, tiny 10-year-old little girl, 8-year-old little girl. That is the easiest prey.
Sure.
And look what the easiest prey can do with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
With jiu-jitsu, she ain't no prey no more. You know what I mean? Look at Grace Gundrum.
Yeah.
Good luck trying to. A grown man is not going to be. A grown man is going to have to knock Grace out first to do anything, because a grown man will get choked out by Grace.
Yeah,
and she's 14.
We held a seminar at her school a month ago, and we got a chance to roll with her, and she's awesome, man. We had to tiptoe around her little legs and her little. She's very sneaky.
She's a little vampire.
And then after the first show with Grace and with Cora and Jessa and Alyssa, that became like the highlight of the night. That's what everybody was talking about. That's what Joey Diaz on his podcast, he was crying talking about it. You know, how Grace comes out so unassuming, and then her jiu-jitsu looks like just some ninja, you know, and she's battling and she's going to war, and they're going to war with each other. So it became like an instant crowd favorite. So I had to keep bringing Grace back in. And now we're going to find out coming EBI 8, it's going to be EBI
awesome.
8. It's going to be 16 of the best girls I could find, and we got some beasts. We got some serious beasts. Jasmine the Beast Johnson, look into that girl. That girl's amazing. She's going to be in it. Danielle Garcia, who's just as beastly, who's out of Checkmat. Oh man, and then of course Grace. Cora, Jessa.
That's gonna be awesome, man, and that's awesome to see that you're putting that out there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, I'm really
now.
Excited.
Are you gonna have adult male super fights during that event? Like switch it up?
We're gonna have grown woman special matches.
Are you ever gonna do little boy super matches?
You know, we have. No, we have. I've had.
You did that earlier. Okay.
Yeah, I've had like at least 2 of them.
You got to get the Rotolo twins from AOJ. They're incredible.
Yeah. I put my boy, I think 2 EBIs ago, Derek Rayfield, my super flexible little prodigy kid, put him in against Aaron Curtin, because they went at it at Gracie Worlds, and it ended up in a draw, but it was a great match. So I decided to put the rematch in EBI, and that was a great match. But, the crowd really loves watching the little girls. They love it. My wife was crying. My wife was watching. She's crying when Grace was out there and they're battling. People really like it.
Yeah.
And the teen boys matches are awesome too.
But they get enough shine.
Yeah, the guys are getting,
Yeah.
They're like, when a guy's 15 and he's really good, he could fight with the adults. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Teen boys, but, I'm going to end up putting, like 8-year-old boys and 7-year-old boys or 9-year-old boys in there. That's going to be the next phase. I'm going to get the real young boys. You know what I mean? Teen boys, they're pretty much like men. You know what I mean? To me, it's not as
a drastic difference in size for sure.
If you see 2 little 7-year-old boys who know what they're doing, man, that looks so cool. That is so cool. And you see like a 7-year-old with Chris Marcello type passing. Yeah. That's just like, what? With the boys, they got to be younger. They can't be teens. With the girls, it's really cool to see 12-year-old girls, 13-year-old girls with killing techniques. That's, people like seeing that.
Yeah, man. Eddie, on that note, we're running out of time. We gotta go. We gotta go teach these classes. Actually, kids' classes, ironically.
Cool.
But listen, man, we really appreciate it. I love talking jiu-jitsu with you, and we're really happy that you got this Fight Pass deal and are able to take EBI to the next level. This next level grappling shit. It's awesome, man.
Well, thank you very much, man. Still plenty of tickets available. Saturday, July 16th. Go to Ticketmaster if you're anywhere in Southern California. You want to see it live. Trust me, the reviews are insane. Come on down. Or you could just watch it on UFC Fight Pass. If you don't want to get UFC Fight Pass and you just want to order a pay-per-view, just one-shot deal, you don't have to commit to Fight Pass. You can go to UFC.tv and order the show on its own for like $9.
Nice. Dang. You want to tell people how they can reach you?
Go to 10thplanetjj.com for for locations. We got about 60 schools worldwide. A lot of them in small towns. You'll be shocked. You might have a 10th Planet in your own city. Go check it out.
Awesome, man. Eddie, thank you so much once again, and good luck at EBI 7, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. See ya.
See ya.
If you guys enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, like, comment on our iTunes or Stitcher or any platform that you are on. It goes a really long way, guys. When you subscribe, it pushes us further along, and it allows us to continue to bring you these podcast episodes with our guests, and it really helps out a lot to subscribe. It makes it a lot easier. It automatically downloads the episodes on iTunes. It's just easier to get us on your phone or your computer. So please subscribe. That's one of the biggest things you can help us out with.